Well, good morning, Thomas. Thanks for joining us again on ESPN 1000 of the Bears Radio Network. Appreciate your time. First of all, how you feeling this morning, and what did the tape reveal?
Yeah, I mean, obviously still frustrated by the result that we keep getting. Obviously didn't have the execution on really kind of just two phases of our offense and defense to kind of get the job done. The tape is a tape. Kind of what I said after the game, I kind of stand by as far as from an offensive standpoint. You can't dig yourself in a hole by having two turnovers early in the game. We end up having those two turnovers add up into 10 points. 10 points. So you end up obviously starting the game playing from a deficit, trying to get back involved in the game, which does dictate the flow of how you can stay balanced, trying to run the ball, and also having to set it up. There were some positive moments here and there. I think the QB did perform well at times. We're given an opportunity down the stretch, but it's about us being better from start to finish, him included. But it's overall just execution, our details, how we communicate, which of course always starts with me first.
That doggone first drive again. It's got to be perplexing as a coordinator and for the fellas.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely is. It's, no matter how much we talk about it, we change things up, have a different order of sequence. It's more maybe of a mental block of just the redundancy of what happens over and over again. I think obviously once we got past that, started to kind of get the ball moving some, but the turnovers kill you. You get a couple of first downs, you get a couple of explosives, and uncharacteristically by Rome, had this two. One on the jet sweep, which is kind of a miss handoff, and dropped out when they obviously recovered. And then one was an explosive pass where he's fighting for extra yards and gets held up, which oftentimes is the most critical moments where guys end up turning the ball over. But there were other issues outside of that. Got to do a better job when it comes to overall penalties. We had 10 as a team, which is the opposite of what we talked about. Obviously coming back home, some of the pre-snap penalties are inexcusable. Anytime you're on home or away, but just even being back at home, from a defensive standpoint, being locked in when they're trying to draw you off sides on 4th and 1, and we jump on that to help them extend their drive when they're just trying to draw us off sides and probably take a delay and kick it. And also from an offensive standpoint, do have some moving parts, different guys in different spots. Obviously, having two old linemen go down never helps you. But again, we got to be locked in and be in detail every single snap.
Yeah, as complicated as offensive line play is, and how technical it is, and how much the continuity is important. And you haven't been here for the whole time, but it's crazy how much turnover there has been with the offensive line over the last several years. None of it matters in the past, but in the present, just how challenging is that?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely challenging. You talk about, guys being in different spots, having a cross-train guys at multiple positions on both sides of the ball, both sides of the line of scrimmage, playing left and right, but also what it does to the game plan that you have. We have a lot of things we have in game plan specific to go certain directions because of trying to play to our strengths and minimize some of the weaknesses. And we have certain guys go down, it kind of just becomes you have to adjust on the fly and work on some things you maybe haven't done all week with certain guys in certain spots, but we've still got to figure out a way to get it done.
On appearances, it looked very serious. On Braxton Jones, you saw everybody around him on the field. It's an ankle. Do you have any further information at this time, or did he dodge a bullet here?
Yeah, it looks pretty significant as far as the injury goes. It will be an ankle. I do believe surgery will be required. That's all I kind of know right now at this time. But I did reach out to him yesterday. Told my thoughts and prayers are with him. Just keep his head up, and he was positive with the response as much as you can be in that situation. I've been in that spot several times throughout my career as a player. It's never a spot you want to be in, but just being able to reflect in the moment, but also for the road ahead, what comes after post-surgery.
All right, let's dig in deeper on Caleb. I thought he played a poised game. That was my perspective, but you're the man that has better knowledge than me on this. But just the use of his feet again proved to be perplexing. I'm using that word more than once here this morning. Perplexing for the defense. I thought just sliding away from some of that pressure and still keeping his eyes downfield. This is to me who he is. He does not drop his eyes very often. Are those some of the highlights that you would say? And if you could dig deeper on some of the positive things you saw from him.
Yeah, I think definitely, as you mentioned before, being able to extend plays is something he does really, really well. But I think being able to kind of continue to grow with what we do with him in the pocket, whether it be play action pass, a drop back whirl, but also being able to find the open guys when they're there. I think our receivers did a really good job as far as field distribution and making plays, but giving an opportunity. Had a ton of explosives. Obviously, it was kind of really timely to be able to hit Keenan on a double move at the end of the half to kind of go up and score again, to try to keep the momentum going in that direction. So that was good for him to be able to play. We had some time on task. We've run a lot before in the past, so that obviously always helps. Had a couple of things set up like just throughout the entire season, getting down to the goal line where we've been run heavy for obvious reasons. Getting in goal line, knew everybody would kind of be gearing up to stop the run. And I was going to be in 4-down territory at that point anyway, but wanted to kind of get a screen we've had, not screen, but a play action pass we had up for the last few weeks off and hit like a dream. It was like he designed it up. And he obviously used his leg to the edge, kind of a run pass option. So if they end up covering Cole, he have an opportunity to run into the end zone with a lead blocker. But obviously Cole popped and the timing was good there. But I think the progression continues to be a trend in the right direction. Still some stuff we can clean up and be better at when it comes to some of the operation. Also, when it comes to some opportunities we missed for even a bigger game, to find some more explosive, to catch them in man coverage and make them pay for it, and also to get some protection things right. Because I think O-line does a really good job with Coleman kind of being a lead dog as far as how he drives the communication. There's some stuff the QB has to be involved in from a coverage standpoint to get the protection looks right. We missed a couple of those that could have put us in a better spot at times.
Is there a future here? And again, the running game was stalled yesterday. But can this be a dangerous play action offense? Much like what obviously Jared Goff's been in the same system and he's excellent and has been for many years on play action. It's such a deadly play. Can the Bears be more efficient as a play action team in the bigger picture?
Yeah, absolutely. I think obviously, as you mentioned before, starting with the run game, being effective with that, getting that going. I think contrary to popular belief, you don't have to always have a ton of runs to have play action passes work. That's not necessarily true, but I think obviously the illusion of the balance of it does keep people off balance. And from a protection standpoint, it does give you some firmer pockets where guys can be more aggressive up front, jumps some D linemen to give you a bigger kind of cushion in the pocket for the QB to set up and push the ball down the field. But again, just having continuity, having a healthy five to kind of be in the same spots, but obviously being consistent as far as how the game goes. Because again, you continue to go down by multiple scores, it is hard to continue to just stick to the run game. You got to just try to find ways to create explosive to get back involved and try to catch back up. Because obviously, at some point, time becomes an issue.
Yeah, I mean, just always trailing is hard. Always.
It definitely is. We'll try to find a solution for that.
Yeah, defensively, Detroit was magnificent on first down. Was that the story for the defense?
Yeah, I mean, I think early down efficiency leads always to third down success. Obviously, they were pretty good on third down as well because they were able to mix it up between the runs, some quick game ball out plays, but also the play action shots you mentioned. We obviously gave up, some explosives that were unnecessary to give up as far as if we're doing a better job with our keys, eyes in the right spot and making the play when the time comes. Then also continue to try to find ways to put pressure on the quarterback. Again, you mentioned obviously Jared Goff has been doing it for a while. Has been involved obviously when I was with him in LA as far as the understanding of how to maximize play action pass, and he does a really good job at the top of the drop, being twitched up and finding the open receivers. But if you give him 4 seconds plus, we don't care who's playing quarterback, they have an opportunity to find somebody open at some point. So still trying to find ways to continue to generate rush and also be sticky on the outside from a cover standpoint.
All right, let's move on to Seattle. Quick turnaround here. Have you run into a Mike McDonald defense? I didn't have time to check, but I don't know if you ever faced a Mike McDonald defense.
Some similar variations of it. Obviously, Mike and I were at Georgia long time ago.
Oh, cool.
I've known him for a couple of times. He even kind of reached out to me when he was in some talks with with getting a head job this past off season. So a ton of respect for him and the person that he is, how he goes about his business. Obviously, very knowledgeable from a defensive standpoint, but just football overall as far as his scope and his lens towards it. But these guys are multiple as far as personnel groupings. They bring a lot of pressure when it comes to external pressure, internal pressure, disguised from a coverage standpoint. So on a short week is going to be important that we have a trimmed up menu that's going to give us an opportunity to be able to execute, identify potential problems on normal D&D, but also on third down.
And lastly, quickly, what's your thought on Geno Smith? He's really resurrected his career here in the last several years.
Yeah, I mean, obviously being in the NFC West, seeing a little bit of him before I ended up going to Carolina last year. Obviously, veteran quarterback, has a ton of confidence, is way more athletic than people give him credit for as far as extending plays. And when he does scramble, he's made some big moments throughout this year. Their team that does chunk the ball around a good bit. So they will obviously have some talented backs in the backfield, but obviously being able to try to limit some of these explosive with these receivers they have is going to be a big part of our success on Thursday night.
I appreciate your time. Good luck this in this short week.
Oh
And
yeah.
Merry Christmas, Happy Holidays to you and your family.
All right, same to you. I appreciate that.